If you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please tune in right this moment, because this coming Thursday night, we are starting our Understanding the End Time series right here in our studios in Plano, Texas. You are invited to come. There is no charge. If you're interested, simply send an email to drobbins@endtime.com. Dave Robbins is my son-in-law, and he will be presiding over these Bible studies. I will be doing the teaching. So if you would like to be involved in that, this is your opportunity to get through this course. In my opinion, every single person on earth needs to go through this course right now, because if you do, you will know what's coming, and thus you will know what to do about it. So I urge you, whatever you do, Thursday evening, 7 o'clock, and for the next 14 weeks, these classes will go forward. And if you would like to be involved, just simply send an email to drobbins, that's DROBBINS, all lowercase, drobbins at endtime.com, ENDTIME.com, all lowercase, drobbins at endtime.com. And David will send you all the details about exactly which door to come in. He'll give you everything that you need so that this Thursday evening, 2 days from right now, actually, let me give you the exact date. That will be the 20th of March. We'll be beginning this coming Thursday at 7 o'clock. So just go ahead and send the confirming email. You can RSVP at drobbins@endtime.com, and he will send you the email telling you all the information that you need. Okay, I certainly hope you'll take advantage of that. It's so important. Now, let's get immediately to our stories. Yesterday, Mahmoud Abbas, the chairman of the Palestinian Authority, met with President Barack Obama. What did they say? Well, nobody knows. I mean, we had some very generalized statements about what they talked about, but to really have any in-depth reporting, we simply were not given any information. However, I found this article that was carried recently in the Jerusalem Post to be incredibly interesting. Actually it came out on the 9th of this month, the 9th of March. Here's what it said. A framework for the continuation of peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians does not yet exist, the U.S. confirmed on Friday. But should an agreement be reached, it said, the parties are reserving the right to keep some of its details secret from the public. Okay, stop right there. Now wait a minute. They don't have the agreement. It doesn't yet exist, but the parties know enough about what's in it or what is going to be in it that they are reserving the right to keep some of its details secret from the public. So how do you make an agreement and you keep some things secret, and why do you keep them secret, and what things might this be talking about? I found those questions so interesting. They already know what's in the agreement, apparently, because they're saying we want to keep some of these things secret. Now, I'm using my imagination, but I suspect perhaps that placing the Temple Mount under a sharing arrangement may be something the leaders want to keep secret temporarily. They may even have built into the agreement that Israel will get to build her temple on her portion of the Temple Mount. Now, will they keep that secret? Possibly, to keep the Muslim ire from inflaming and causing all kinds of riots. Possibly that's the rationale. We simply don't know, but there's something in this framework that's far enough advanced that either Abbas, Netanyahu, or both have said, look, we need to keep this secret. It's going to be very interesting because I have a feeling that the thing they're trying to keep secret is already revealed in the Bible. The Bible says that God will do nothing except he reveals it to his servants, the prophets. Okay, well, continuing on in this article, we'll cross that entire bridge when we get to it. State Department spokesman Jen Psaki told reporters, I expect there would be something that would be public if the sides agree to a framework. So we're going to agree to a framework, and maybe something in there will be able to be exposed to the public. I mean, after all, they represent us. Are we too fragile to know? I mean, what's going on here? Well, the article continues on down. It goes ahead to say, that's been our position, as you know, for a long time. Psaki said that Israel is a Jewish state. That doesn't reflect, of course, what the parties are going to agree to. The United States has said Israel's a Jewish state. But will the parties agree to that? We're talking about a discussion and what's being compromised as part of a discussion on a framework for negotiation. Okay, so we're seeing that these things are obviously being discussed and rehashed in private. Now, along with these things, there's another article here that I found to be incredibly interesting. This article is entitled, Jewish State Declaration is Unyielding Block to a Deal. Mr. Abbas reiterated the Palestinian demand that East Jerusalem be the capital of a Palestinian state. The article went on to say a Palestinian state based on borders before the 1967 Arab-Israeli War adjusted to account for Jewish settlements in the West Bank. Okay, so we're going to have a Palestinian state based on 67 boundaries, but with adjustments to account for the Jewish settlements. Well, if you account for all the Jewish settlements, that's going to be a big adjustment because they now take up a lot of territory in what is known as the East Bank. So, or the West Bank, I should say. Okay, well, that's just a few of the things I wanted to bring your attention before we actually begin to take your phone calls today. The article went on to say, speaking to reporters after the meeting on Monday, the chief Palestinian negotiator, Saeb Erekat, said the Palestinians saw no point in negotiating beyond the April deadline and that now is a time for decisions. Okay, so President Obama is saying we're going to have to go on beyond the deadline. John Kerry is saying we're going to have to go on beyond the deadline. And the followers of Mr. Mahmoud Abbas are saying there's no reason. I mean, Saeb Erekat is the number one negotiator for the Arab peace team. He says the Palestinians saw no point in negotiating beyond the April deadline and that now was a time for decisions. Quit negotiating. Let's make decisions. Everybody knows where everybody stands. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, I better back up. What are we talking about? We are talking about the event that will trigger the final 7 years to the Battle of Armageddon and the second coming of Jesus to this earth. Now, when we're talking about that, you've got my attention all of a sudden. That's what's going on here. Now, Erekat is saying there's no point in negotiation beyond the April deadline. Why negotiate some more? We've negotiated till we're blue in the face. Now is the time for someone to have enough bravery to step forward and say, here are decisions that can be taken right now. And that's actually what they're saying. Saeb Erekat said the Palestinians saw no point in negotiating beyond the April deadline and that now was a time for decisions. So President Obama is saying now's the time. The main negotiator for the Palestinians, Saeb Erekat, said now is the time for decisions. Let's get this deal done. Finally, the article closes out by saying the framework would set general terms on issues like Israeli security and the borders of a Palestinian state. Some analysts said the United States was drafting alternative documents, one robust and detailed, the other less so, as it tried to find a recipe acceptable to both sides. So they're actually drawing up two documents, one that's more detailed. If he can get Abbas and Netanyahu to make the quantum leap into this final fleshed out detail, this agreement, then he would be very happy. However, if you can't get that done, go for a large, robust possibility for agreement. It will still be an agreement. It will still hold the force of international law. So go for that instead. Okay. I do want to get to the phones. Let me see. I'll tell you what we better do. We better hold off until after the first break because we're getting really close now, and I don't really want to do that to you. Now, in the meantime, Erekat continues to make statements. This statement came just today. The chief Palestinian Authority PA negotiator Saeb Erekat on Monday once again blamed Israel for the lack of progress in peace talks, saying that the Israelis must choose between settlements and peace. Mahmoud Abbas is meeting with the U.S. President Barack Obama. Erekat accused Israel of having built more than 10,000 homes in Judea and Samaria since the negotiations began last July. Now, the article goes on down. As I said to the Prime Minister Netanyahu when he was here just a few weeks ago, I believe that now is the time to embrace this opportunity. Do you notice how many times, ladies and gentlemen, that someone is saying, now's the time, this is the time, we don't need to prolongate the negotiations anymore, this is the time, let's just do it. That's really what's being said right now. So, are they going to do it? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Israel is going to sign a bad deal. Israel is going to realize there are forces closing in, but she's not going to take the necessary precautions to stop what could be a very dangerous situation. So right now, that's what's going on in Israel. The talks yesterday, we really don't know much about them. But I promise you, they were talking about the framework. They were talking about Israel and the Palestinians signing on and finally moving down the path for peace. We'll have more to say to you when we get back from this edition.